Hi, I'm Carson Murphy. I've been coming to North Rock Church for a little over 8 months, and I serve on the guest services team as well as I'm a serve captain for the 11:30 usher team. So, like growing up playing basketball my whole life, I played basketball in college on scholarship. And I remember it was my sophomore year. I lived by myself, and I was just in this state of I was never really present in any room. I was just always thinking about other things, trapped, consumed in my hate, my anger, and I just was in a lot of pain. And it got so bad to the point where I was, struggling. And I was, basketball has been my life, and I was going to school for free, a dream situation. It got to the point where I had to make a serious choice of I keep going down the dark path, playing a sport that, I loved, and ultimately could have put me down a very dark path that I probably wouldn't have came back from, or it was step away from basketball and try to turn my life around in a better way. And ultimately I chose to stop playing basketball, which was killing not only for me, but for my family as well, especially my father, because he grew up playing basketball, and I came from a very strong, competitive basketball family. So that not only broke my heart, but it broke his, and that made the transition harder as well. Meeting Christ, it was a struggle. I didn't have necessarily the best relationship with my dad. During that time, it was hard. There were times we went days without talking. It just felt like there was a lot of pressure, and it wasn't until I was one day just lost and I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning. I would walk around my neighborhood late at night because my mind was racing. And it wasn't until I watched a Cliff Connectley video and he really introduced Christ for me in a new way that I was able to completely just find this new sense of light in the world. And I was able to see the world in a new light. And he opened my heart to Christ. And then once I kind of just surrendered to him in that little moment of watching that video, he instantly changed my life. Once I gave my life to Christ, this weight and this burden that was crippling me for a long time just lifted. I felt free. I felt like I could finally think straight. This new sense of peace came over my life. This new sense of wisdom and perspective on life completely changed. The trauma and the pain, the anger, the hate that I never thought I was going to be able to escape from was lifted, and it no longer had a hold over me. The old and sinful habits that I was just stuck in, I was able to break free from them, and I was able to have a little bit more control over them. I stopped hating other people as much. I stopped being judgmental and closing myself off from people. I never felt like I had to just isolate myself in order to find peace, and I started to open up a little bit more, and I just completely became this new person and just had this new life because of Christ. Leaving basketball, especially in terms of my relationship with my family and my dad, was definitely worth the sacrifice. I know that I was in a very blessed position to be able to play scholarship basketball, but the burden that it was weighing on me and the fact that it was causing a tension between me and my father, wasn't worth giving up. And I didn't want to lose, the relationship with my dad, because he is a phenomenal dad and I love him so much because he's provided me with so much. But I felt basketball and just the season in which that I was in caused a lot of strain on our relationship. And coming from a competitive household, basketball was something that we shared a lot because he had a strong love for basketball as well. So that was something in a way that we connected, and releasing, basketball and not having that as the way that we connected, and being able to grow a new relationship together outside of basketball definitely allowed us to grow closer, allowed us to make progress, and it allowed us to have a more bonded father-son relationship and not just a player-coach relationship that it had been. As I've grown closer with God, I think I've definitely been inspiring my family to start to renew their faith. Growing up, my mom and my father both were in church. They were both raised in faith-oriented families, and I think through life and some of the things that they've been through a lot, and a lot of the pain of their past, it drove them away from Christ. But I think in me finding my own way and my own path with Christ and following him and choosing to do that, without them making that choice for me, I think it's inspiring them to allow God in their hearts. And I know everyone has their own path and own timing with God. But I do think that as I grow closer with God, and as they see me become involved, and they see me get baptized, and they see me really fall in love with my relationship with God, that's inspiring them to also pursue God in a new light. And I think it's also inspiring my friends, to do the same. My advice for someone new in faith, or someone who hasn't found faith and is searching for it, I would just advise them to be open-minded. When I was stuck, in my pain and my trauma, and I was crippled with anger and hate, I didn't think escaping it was possible. I thought giving God a chance, it wasn't, it was going to be a temporary fix, and it wasn't really going to hold, and it wasn't going to make that much of an impact. But it's stepping out of your own stubbornness and your own pride, and it's just simply giving God a chance to come into your heart and just wringing out your heart to him, pouring out everything, every fear, every worry, every, feeling of anxiety, depression, anger, hate, unforgiveness, all of that. If you just pour all your pain and all your trauma out to God, and you just invite him in, he will make a difference. I can guarantee it, because he did it for me. He changed my life. And if you just allow him in your heart and you just give him a chance, you have nothing to lose. So you just give him a chance, he will impact your life in a way that you never thought was possible. And he did it for me. And I know he can do it for you.